Chapter 23, page 91. Those were the best times, when we were alone, together, out of school. We took long walks around the town and into the desert, to our enchanted place. We sat on park benches and people watched. I introduced her to strawberry banana smoothies. I borrowed the pickup and drove us to Red Rock and Glendale. On weekends, we went to Archie's. On his back porch, we talked of 1,000 things, and laughed and swooned, and pipe smoked and ate pizza. She presented her oratorical contest speech to Senor Seguero, who never spoke of the shunning. I loved weekends. But Mondays always followed Sundays. And the shunning, it was clear now, had come to me. It was less absolute for me than for her, but it was there. I saw it in the eyes that shifted away from mine, the shoulders that turned, the chatter that seemed less loud around me now than before. I fought it. I tested its limits. In the courtyard between classes, in the lunchroom, I called out to others just to see if they would respond. When someone turned and nodded, I felt grateful. If someone spoke to me, especially if I had not spoken first, I wanted to cry. I had never realized how much I needed the attention of others to confirm my own presence. I told myself the shunning was more painful for me than for Stargirl. I told myself that she was too busy being herself to notice that she was being ignored, and, in fact, that she continued to give birthday people a ukulele serenade and to decorate her desk and to distribute assorted kindnesses. I told myself that even if she did notice, she wouldn't care. I understood why this was happening to me. In the eyes of the student body, she was part of my identity. I was her boyfriend. I was Mr. Stargirl. Students said things, not to me, not directly, but tuned for me to overhear, even as they pretended I was nowhere near. They said she was a self-centered spotlight hogger. They said she thought she was some kind of saint. I cringed at that, and that she was better than the rest of us. They said she wanted everyone else to feel guilty for not being as nice and as wonderful as she was. They said she was a phony. Most of all, they said she was the reason why the Mica Electrons were not soon to become Arizona State basketball champions. Kevin had been right. When she started cheering for the other team, she did something bad to her own team. To see one of their own priming the opposition did something to the team's morale that hours of practice could not overcome. And the last straw, everyone seemed to agree, was the Sun Valley game, when Stargirl rushed across the court to aid Kobach, the Sun Valley star. All of this was affirmed by our own star, Ardsley himself, who said that when he saw a Micah cheerleader giving comfort to the enemy, the heart went out of him. She was why they lost the next game so miserably to Red Rock. They hated her for it, and they would never forgive. Unlike Stargirl, I was aware of the constant anger of our schoolmates, seething like snakes under a porch. In fact, I was not only aware of it, but at times I also understood their point of view. There were even moments when something small and huddled within me agreed with it. But then I would see her smile and take a swan dive into her eyes, and the bad moment would be gone. I saw, I heard, I understood, I suffered. But whose sake was I suffering for? I kept thinking of Senor Seguero's question. Whose affection do you value more, hers or the others? I became angry. I resented having to choose. I refused to choose. I imagined my life without her and without them, and I didn't like it either way. I pretended it would not always be like this. In the magical moonlight of my bed at night, I pretended she would become more like them, and they would become more like her, and in the end, I would have it all. Then she did something that made pretending impossible.